30th of January 2023. Welcome to the main news on Camnet TV at 19:30. Let's look at the top stories. Floods continue to wreak havoc in several parts of Zambia. Patriotic Front's inter-party wrangles emerge ahead of the elective Congress as Mao's Sampa gets suspended. President Hakainde Hichilema hails the role of the church in national development. In our international headline, a tropical storm in Madagascar, at least 25 dead, roads flooded and crops destroyed. In our sports headlines, Everton name former Burnley boss Sean Dyche as new manager. We have the details shortly.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for tuning in and a very warm welcome once more to present the main news. My name is Louisia Nalupumbwe. Over 500 households have partially been submerged in water mixed with effluent in Kabwe's Shamabanse Shanty compound following the heavy downpour yesterday on Sunday. Affected residents who solemnly depend on shallow wells for their drinking water also reveal that their water source has been contaminated with the fecal matter being discharged into Lukanga Shamabanse main channel from the sewer pipeline for the Lukanga water and sanitation. However, the area member of parliament for Kabwe Central, Mrs. Chrysostapiri, who visited the affected households, says she will engage the utility company to avoid the possible outbreak of cholera among other diarrhea diseases.
What we are doing now here, because we have identified a point where there's too much vegetation and that is hindering the free flow of water. Thereafter, when we finish this small portion, we'll go now to the discharging points where we'll start excavating and remove weeds, proceeding all the way to Lukanga. It's imperative that we start from the discharging points all the way to the upstream where the water is starting flowing, so that there is free flow of water, there is no blockage. I want to say that I'm so happy that at least we have come to the aid of our people at Shamabanse who have been experiencing, this problem for a long time. If you look and inside there, you see that there is a pipe, a big pipe from Lukanga, which is a sewer pipe. And because for a long time it has been leaking, so sewer water is mixing with this water. And the houses are really flooded. All the houses in Shamabanse are flooded, which is a very big health hazard to our people, especially our children. They're experiencing a lot of diarrhea diseases because of this canal and the flooding that has been happening year in, year out. So we are promising our people that this is going to be done, and we're already doing it, and we're happy that going forward, in the coming years, they won't have this same problem that they're experiencing now.
So if so na sangana naso we are
This canal was not meant for draining of sewer. No, I know it's illegal for Lukanga water and sewerage to be using this canal to drain their sewerage.
Over 15 bridges, 15 drifts and 72 culverts have been left damaged in various parts of Gwembe district in southern province due to heavy rains being experienced in the district. The damaged road infrastructure has made it difficult for members of the public to access critical institutions such as health facilities, schools, fishing camps, markets and farming areas, among others. Gwembe Town Council Secretary Maliwa Muchu has disclosed this development in a letter addressed to Southern Province Permanent Secretary Dr. Naman Monze. Engineer Muchu says the heavy downpour has left the entire road networks with serious gullies, thereby making the movement of people difficult. He has since appealed to government for funds amounting to 78 million kwacha to work on the damaged roads and bridges.
most of our infrastructure have been damaged by these floods. You will find that from the survey that we did, approximately we can talk about 15 vented drifts, normal drifts, and also 15 bridges. When you talk of the culverts, the 5 culverts, almost over 72 have been affected. And because of these floods, quite all right, you find some of these structures were designed to top over, like the drifts and the vented drifts. They were designed so that water can pass on top. But the amount of water that we are having is way becoming too dangerous for our public. And as such, urgent action has to be taken. If you have noted, most of these, like on the bottom road, we decided to change the designs and put bridges there instead of putting the vented drifts and the drifts. Because the amount of water that is passing on top is way too much, more than what they were designed for. For instance, when it rains, people are taking almost 5-6 hours waiting for water to move from the upstream to the downstream.
A group of 136 concerned citizens in Lusaka, mostly comprising youths, have urged their fellow youths to take it upon themselves and clean the Central Business District CBD on a daily basis until the end of the rainy season in April 2023 to prevent waterborne diseases. Speaking to Camnet News, leader of the group, Martin Mulenga, says this is what he and his group have committed to do in response to the call from the Republican Vice President Mthalena Lumango to keep the streets clean to avoid diseases like cholera. The concerned citizens also say there is need to compel shop owners to have waste collection bins, stating that many shops are suspected to be among those dumping waste indiscriminately in the CBD. Details are in this report.
While youths in Zambia are known for illicit activities such as drug and alcohol abuse as well as crime, this group of concerned citizens say they want to change the narrative and contribute positively to the nation. This is a group of 136 citizens, with most of them being youths, who say they have responded to the call by Republican Vice President Mthalena Lumango to clear the state of youth in the Lusaka Central Business District CBD as it is an emergency. The concerned citizens say from this day until April, when the rain season is expected to end, they will clean the streets daily to prevent an outbreak of cholera. The group further conducted an inspection around some shops in the CBD, noting that only a few have waste collection bins, while it is not known where the others dispose of their waste. Martin Mulenga was leading the group.
The Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, just announced the outbreak of cholera in Zambia. So we don't want to be hit by cholera outbreak. I'm telling you and I'm assuring you, if cholera were to come in Lusaka, we are doomed. So what do we do? This is why we, as the concerned citizen, we have begun this campaign for Keep Lusaka Clean. What we want to see is to see a clean market, a clean Lusaka, and a clean environment at large.
So that Lusaka is clean. Keep Lusaka clean. So chilamuntu onso pale wombela. Avike kwa mano pale wombela pale clean. Notinga tuwapita tinanga mukola chani, musebenzera chani awe. Vane bonse tentuikatane so that tuwe clean muno mchalo chesu cha Zambia.
So tipempa ko kuli muri manyumba, muri town, pamene musebenzera, kuma restaurant, kuma chani, mudobeko, mukapeza chipepa cha manzi cha chani, mwadoba mwaika muri chamene muika mu chipini. Chamene tipempa ko chikulu mpezeke olo mwatenga kasaka mulongamo ya bidoti pamene mzambo pezeka nako pafupi. Betameti pemba. Sati zambo pita hapo tita correct pita vene mwati ikira masaka titandiza kuti Zambia inkale clean, Lusaka inkale clean, kuti cholera isati gwere, isati pae.
Others say there is need for buses to have bins so that passengers do not litter the streets when traveling.
And then we call upon the Association of Bus and Taxi Drivers so that they should make sure that in their buses they should have a bin, at least it's clean where they are.
Yes.
They should not litter outside the window.
Yes.
And for that, we are asking all of these lawmakers to say they should check on these people.
Yes.
To say that they should keep this clean environment. Once we find these people littering anyhow, we'll report that car to RATSA so that they should deal with them. So for that, we are asking all the citizens, not only here in town, even in your homes where you are staying, you need to live a very clean environment.
Tipempa kuti vankale na mabini yakweva tikafika mabini tapeza cheveve vanafaka kutala noti kutaya chitaetaye ija chizatiletera monga ife tiri mushe endi chizaleta monga vantu sivakilina and we are here to clean.
Zambia is currently trying to prevent an outbreak of cholera as the waterborne disease has already broken out in Vubri district of Eastern Province, killing one. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Chingola Municipal Council has warned members of the public for illegally dumping waste on railway tracks in Chikola area. Council Assistant Public Relations Manager Evelyn Mulenga says the local authority has noticed an increase in illegal waste activity and says the authority shall not hesitate to prosecute those found wanting. Ms. Mulenga says all residents and business owners are encouraged to subscribe to the franchise contractors engaged by the local authority in waste management. She says the council places great importance in ensuring that the district is kept clean to prevent outbreak of diseases.
As Chingola Municipal Council, we are posing a stern warning to individuals that are dumping waste in the railway tracks in Chikola area. We have a number of people that have decided to turn that place into their dump site, and council is not going to condone the illegality. They are involved in making sure that anyone that is going to be found wanting faces the wrath of the law, because this is an illegality. As a local authority, we have continued to plead with your residents to please subscribe with one of our franchise companies that we are engaged in solid waste management. Also, you can dispose of waste in designated places. Just 3 days ago, the minister announced that there's an outbreak of cholera in our country, and we definitely don't want Chingwell to have a case of cholera. So please help us to help you so that together we can maintain a clean and healthy environment.
Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua has taken a swipe against Mumbwa Town Council at the slow pace they are implementing government-funded projects in the district. Addressing the Constituency Development Fund Executive Committee, Mr. Nanjua, who is also Mumbwa Central Member of Parliament, warned that government would deal with anyone frustrating its efforts in fostering development. He has observed the CDF-driven projects are not moving at the expectations of the people, stating that the money is just sitting in their account. Details are in this report.
Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua has held a meeting with Mumbwa Constituency Development Fund Committee Executive. Mr. Nanjua, who is also Mumbwa Central Member of Parliament, has expressed displeasure at the slow pace the local authority is utilizing CDF.
Here is a big problem. The pace that we are moving at as council is not impressive. I expect the desks to be done by 31st December so that this quarter or this term children have got the desks. It's now when we are struggling to put the desks in place. We approved those plans. We got the approvals. Long time. Money came, but it's now when we are doing the procurement of the desks. Already we are behind schedule. We are very behind schedule. And at the rate where we are, at which we are moving, we may have these desks in the second term, which is not good.
Gracious Nkete is Mumbwa CDF Committee Chairperson, who has this to say.
The committee is also not satisfied in terms of how we're moving as a constituency, because approvals were done. Of course, quarter 1, quarter 2, we had challenges in terms of approvals at national level. But for the other 2 quarters, I think we moved. We got approvals at the right time, and we are thinking there should be no excuse for lagging behind. As we are seeing as a community, you realize that most of the CDFC members come from the community and they are interacting with the community down there. So it's really also to try and echo the sentiments of the local authority or council to see how things are moving or are moved properly, so that we see the community benefiting. Monies are there, monies are sitting in the account for year 1. We are now talking about year 2. Let's quickly speed up implementation on the ground.
Meanwhile, Mumbo Town Council Chairperson Henderson Kachenjela has made a stance regarding CDF utilization.
All the quarters, quarter 3 and 4, actually it's in the hands of the contractors, apart from contractors whom we feel should be retendered. That's where the other lag should be. We have taken your guidance, but we are very sure that this year will be different, because the lagging for last year may not just be from administrative part, it was also part of the procedures. But this year we appreciate the instructions and how the government has streamlined the policies on CDF, that much of what has appeared to cause a slag has been addressed by guidelines and the laws that have come up.
Matthias Chewe, Camnet TV News, Mumbwa.
Division has emerged in the former ruling Patriotic Front Party as it takes disciplinary action against its member, PF aspiring president and Matero constituency lawmaker Mao Sampa, for discrediting party officials. Mr. Sampa's suspension follows a press conference where he unveiled himself as a right candidate for the PF, accusing some of his competitors of being compromised because they are facing corruption charges. During a press conference on Friday, Mr. Sampa accused current and former ministers of enriching themselves through government contracts. But Mr. Luvinda told a media briefing that following his suspension, Mr. Sampa cannot take part in PF affairs for a period of 6 weeks. And Mr. Luvinda has blamed the government for allegedly failing to bring down the high commodity prices, especially mealie meal. Details are in this report.
Monday, 30th January 2023, the Opposition Patriotic Front held a press conference in Lusaka at the party secretariat to discuss various topical national issues. PF acting president Given Luvinda started by mocking the governing United Party for National Development UPND administration for allegedly failing to fix the economy, citing the high cost of living, further insisting on the high cost of mealie meal. He regrets that Vice President Mtalena Lumango is advising Zambians to resort to eating raw mealie meal, which he said is equally expensive as opposed to finding tangible solutions.
The fact that we can't afford drugs because there are no drugs in hospitals. What is a solution? We should consult diviners and bush doctors. That is the approach of the new Doom government. You can't afford breakfast mealie meal, go and buy roller. As if roller is any cheaper. 180 kwacha is not cheap. How can she possibly tell us, like she has done here, if you don't have money for breakfast, eat roller meal? And this is a government which said they are a government of economists.
And Mr. Luvinda announced a 6 weeks suspension of PF aspiring president Mao Sampa from the Central Committee for allegedly attacking PF officials during his last week press conference, where he indicated that he is the right candidate for the party while some contenders were under the watch of investigative wings. He also shared that the party does not agree with Mr. Sampa's stance purporting that Konkola Copper Mines KCM must be given back to Vedanta.
In so doing, Honorable Miles Walia Sampa is hereby suspended from the Central Committee of the party for a period of 6 weeks starting today, Monday, 30th of January 2023. Initially we were thinking, well, these are colleagues and they will conduct themselves in an orderly fashion, they will not create any. But then you saw what happened. Somebody now goes and says, me, I'm the one, like the story of Solomon. Me, I'm the one who wants the baby. Now, who is it who is not Who doesn't want the baby? You see? So now you're casting aspersions against others. And we can't stand by watch people tearing themselves. Because if they tear themselves apart now, what will happen after the conference?
And Mr. Lubinda revealed that the party has banned premature campaigns among aspiring presidential candidates not until a party constitution is fine-tuned to address critical issues and create a level playing field ahead of the elective Congress.
In view of the process of refining the constitution, the Central Committee resolved that the adoption of the rules of engagement and campaigns for the forthcoming elections of the party president shall be reserved until after the February Central Committee meeting. As such, it was further resolved that campaigns for the party presidency be stopped forthwith.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Opposition Advocates for People's Prosperity APP interim president Mwenya Musenge has charged that the United Party for National Development UPND administration has failed Zambian youths who voted for written numbers in August 2021 in hope of employment creation. In an interview, Mr. Musenge says youths, including the said election period, spoke loud and clear that they wanted employment, as some even went to vote wearing graduation gowns. He, however, notes that less than half of unemployed youths have been employed in teaching and the health sector, while other professions have been sidelined. He has further described cooperative funding under the Constituents Development Fund (CDF) as a joke, stating that many youths have failed to go through due to the complicated application process, while those that have succeeded are given capital of even as little as 10,000 kwacha for some groups, which cannot be invested in something meaningful. More in this report.
While the main opposition, Patriotic Front PF, has been the one in the forefront criticizing the United Party for National Development UPND administration, other political parties, among them the Advocates for People's Prosperity APP, have come forward stating that while they had high hopes due to the many promises made by the current administration while in opposition, these hopes are slowly diminishing due to the social and economic problems the country has continued to face. APP interim president Mwenya Musenge says key among these problems is the issue of employment creation, stating that the current situation is unacceptable. Mr. Musenge says while some youths stand up to vote for the UPND in graduation gowns, many of these are still roaming the streets due to only a few jobs having been created for teachers and health workers, while many of them have failed to benefit even from cooperative funding under the Constituency Development Fund (CDF). He, however, notes that it is time for the UPND to come up with measures that are aimed at cushioning poverty being experienced by most unemployed graduates.
We advise them to come up with social security packs, which should be given to all those who have completed tertiary, they have certificates, but unfortunately they cannot be employed. Let's give them these security packs, at least to cushion them over a period of time as they are trying to find their feet. Majority of our people out there, some do not even have Utuma papers. You have said if you do not have a grade 12 certificate, you cannot participate in anything in this country. But those without those documents, where do you expect them to go? There must be a way of how we can also assist those people. These cooperatives, very good idea. How many cooperatives have been created? How many people have received any money from this? Probably they are less than 5% across the country. People are just moving around with those cooperative certificates, doing nothing. And even if they're given money, I know one cooperative which received 10,000 kwacha, and there are about 30 people.
The APP interim president has further alleged that Zambians are stressed due to the social problems they are passing through, which mostly revolve around the unaffordability of basic commodities.
When we were in government, I was with people like Vamwimbu, Vankombo, and a number of those who are Msokotwane and others. These are great people that even in the house, whenever they stood and spoke, you would really feel that yes, these are leaders. But why are they failing to implement the things that they were talking about in their house? Where is the problem? Can they just put their act together? They have their 5 years to govern this country. Let them quickly start giving hope to the people.
He has challenged the government to apply its manifesto, stating that it spent 23 years planning while in opposition on how to uplift the living standards of Zambians. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The ruling party in Northwestern Province says opposition political parties that are championing hate speech contrary to Section 65 of the Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Act No. 2 of 2021 must not be granted police bond or bail when they are arrested by police. Reacting to the recent arrest of Chilufya Tayali, UPND Northwestern Provincial Youth Chairman and Bruce Kanima says politicians like Mr. Tayali do not deserve to be given a police bond or a bail, saying he has been a danger to society. Mr. Kanima adds that politicians who are in a habit of issuing tribal remarks must be arrested and caged in prisons in order for them to learn it in a hard way. Speaking at a media briefing in Solwezi, Mr. Kanima warned opposition leaders who are in a tendency of peddling hate speech to desist from such. Mr. Kanima has since advised the police to closely monitor opposition leaders who are issuing tribal remarks and cage them, stating that some politicians have proved to be a nuisance to the nation.
I want to categorically state that those champions of tribalism who are championing tribalism in the name of politicians, when they are caught, like the way Chilufya Tayali has been caught, I think there is no need to give a bail or a police bond to such kind of individuals. Because when you release them to come to the community, they bring chaos, they bring divisions. So they deserve to be confined in the prison so that such kind of divisions among the communities does not continue. So I want to warn strongly the members of the opposition who have got the tendency of peddling tribalism, divisions and hate speech to desist from that. Now, choosing tribalism as a tool, I think that should not be tolerated, and I want to urge the police and all other government law enforcement agents to ensure that those members of the opposition, wherever they are commenting on issues, wherever they go on radio or TV, they should be monitored critically and monitor their tongue, monitor their mouth. If they shall be able to utter tribalism, hate speech and divisions, then they should be caged.
President Hakainde Hichilema has reaffirmed his government's commitment to work in collaboration with the church in order to foster national development. Speaking when Seventh-day Adventist SDA Church, led by its global president, Ted Wilson, paid him a courtesy call, President Hichilema says it is important that government and the church work together in serving citizens. President Hakainde Hichilema acknowledges the tremendous work that the church is doing in helping the community and the country at large. He notes that the church and government are not competitors but partners in development. He has reassured that his administration will endeavor to serve the country diligently in developing the country. Meanwhile, SDA Global President Ted Wilson has prayed that God grants the head of state and his administration abundance, wisdom to run the affairs of the country.
And this government has taken a decision, clear decision, that we will work with the body of Christ, these churches, this our Adventist church, in delivering services to our people as partners, not as competitors. I say this in many occasions when I have the opportunity, that we do love and appreciate partnership. that church and that our church and other churches have done or provided in the service of mankind. So I know that the welfare side is true. We know what Douglas mothers are doing. All over the country. Sometimes they travel a lot, and some of them perish alone.
Liberty and freedom of conscience in the country of Zambia for all citizens. And this to me is a hallmark of why a country can prosper and move ahead when it respects the religious liberty of all its citizens and points people to God.
The Apostle Council of Churches says it is working towards bringing political parties in Zambia to sit down with the church in 2023 and iron out differences for the sake of ensuring peace and unity in the country. Speaking to Camnet News, ACOC Programs Director Reverend Mawana Zulu says the church mother board is targeting to use neutral members to preside over the dialogue to ensure that no political party feels disadvantaged. Reverend Zulu notes that various attempts of dialogue in the country have failed as the matter has been politicized, adding that the church mother board is, however, determined to have various issues as tribalism, cadreism, and political violence discussed. He has therefore urged political parties not to shun away from the dialogue once called upon if they mean well for the Zambian people.
We see to it that all political parties are brought together and dialogue is done, and we are not the board of Christ where we rush to the media to say, no, we are doing this, we are doing that. No, this engagement is being done in secrecy, in private, because it's not the issue of publicity. What we want is to see peace in our nation, then to see unity in our nation. When all political parties are one, I want to tell you that Zambia will enjoy the peace. Therefore, dialogue is coming to pass. If the church does not come in, I want to tell you that we will divide this nation, of which should not come to pass. Therefore, the church, you church leaders, you know where the politicians are coming from. Each and every political leader in Zambia comes from a church, unless there is one which is coming from other religion. Even from other religions are able to sit down. But here in Zambia, Zambia is a Christian nation. Therefore, all church leaders, all our clergy, see to it that the political party, the political leaders that are coming from your church, when you see something wrong in the nation, sit down with a search and discuss the issue. Then also, even the person whom they are engaging, they have their leaders. Their two leaders come together, sit down with your politicians, then table the issue. Then tribalism will end in the nation of Zambia. When it comes to the citizens, I discourage to engage ourselves in tribalism, because Zambia, we are one. KK brought us.
This is the main news on Camnet TV. Just now we'll take our first set of commercials. When we get back, we have more stories. Do join us after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Cabbages,
onions, maize, potatoes, tomatoes, chilies. At Rainglow, we supply great quality irrigation for the mentioned crops and more at an affordable price. Get our 2,000 meter flat drip for as low as 2,900 kwacha, or our 500 meter round hose for 1,300 kwacha. Customize your own spacing with our 500 meter blank round hose going for 1,200 kwacha, ideal for orchards such as avocado, mango, banana, oranges, etc. Rainglow irrigation, best quality, best price.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. The Zambia Association of College Students Union has appealed to government to create vacancies for the employment of other professionals such as engineers, mechanics, accountants, lawyers, among others. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka Monday, Union National Student President Peter Bwalya says inasmuch as government has made tremendous efforts in addressing unemployment levels by employing teachers and health workers, other professionals are also in need of employment. The union has since appealed to government to consider giving back Konkola copper mines to Vedanta so that operation can resume and employment can be created for the people of Zambia. We have details in this report.
While the United Party for National Development UPND-led administration has made tremendous efforts in creating employment for the education and health sector, unemployment levels in the country still remain high as other professionals do not get equal opportunities as those in the health and education sector. The Zambia Association of College Student Union has since appealed to the current administration to create vacancies for employment of other professionals such as engineers, mechanics, accountants, lawyers, among others. The student union said this at a media briefing held in Lusaka Monday morning.
We want the government to look into the plight of other professionals like engineers, mechanics, accountants, lawyers, etc., as they are also in need of employment or an enabling environment for them to thrive. It must be put on record that the Zambia unemployment basket does not only contain teachers and those in the health sector, but also other young unemployed people that have graduated from various programs.
And Mr. Bwalya has called on the government to work hand in hand with the private sector to ensure the creation of jobs. He has since called on the government to give back Konkola copper mines to Vendatas Resources Limited, who they have described as the owners of the mine and understand its operations. He says doing so will open opportunities for the mines to create employment for the Zambian people as opposed to its current state.
Once Vendata is back and operation resume, it will give our young people, especially our graduating students, jobs, internship programs, skills and training, and also corporate social responsibility. As Zambia Association of College Students Unions, also on behalf of all the students, we make an earnest appeal to government again through the Minister of Mines to expeditiously give back the mine to Vendata so that operation can resume immediately. This is not only a matter of great importance, but it should be treated as urgent and a national priority.
For now, expectations are still high for many unemployed Zambians who look forward to seeing more employment opportunities being created by the government. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Students from higher learning institutions have observed that at a time when the country is facing social and economic challenges, the country needs a strong opposition to provide credible checks and balances. Levi Mwanawasa Medical University Students Union Vice President Evans Mumba is disappointed that division has been exhibited in the former ruling party even before convention to elect a party president is held. Speaking during a press briefing in Lusaka Monday, Mr. Mumba says Zambia needs a strong opposition in order to develop and strengthen democracy. Meanwhile, Faith Tembo, a union member, says the increasing cost of living is highly affecting students, especially those self-sponsored.
The wrangles happening in the party, which has shifted the focus from instead of offering checks and balances to government affairs, but the focus is on the wrangles happening in the PF. I think the PF should put their house to order so that come their process of rebranding, it will be smooth for all the Zambians who believe in the PF, that 2026 they might carry the day. To be honest, we've been saddened by certain statements that were made by big political leaders when it comes to the former heads of state. I think the reality is, I should commend the current president, His Excellency DYCHE, for showing that he respects the former heads of state.
There is current load shedding going on in the country. Not only that, we have the cost of living that is becoming higher by the day. Truth be told, as students, we are affected by this. Owing to the fact that we have been glued to our books and relying on our parents for financial aid, we are equally disadvantaged. Especially coming from an institution which does not offer government sponsorship, which is Veruman also Medical University, it becomes really hard.
Former Minister of Agriculture Permanent Secretary Songowayo Ziambo have taken fresh plea and denied corruption allegations relating to making payment from the public revenue for fertilizer that was not supplied in full. Mr. Ziambo is jointly charged with former Principal Agriculture Economist Gre Mwale and former Principal Accountant Emmanuel Kabwe with one count of making payment from public revenue for goods not supplied in full. The trio took a fresh plea Monday following the substitution of the old indictment by the state. Earlier, Head of Procurement and Supplies Unity at the Ministry of Agriculture, Anon Madima, told Lusaka Chief Resident that Mr. Ziambo signed a contract with Neria Investments Limited on behalf of the ministry. We have details in this report.
Trial has commenced in a matter in which former Minister of Agriculture Permanent Secretary Singowa Ziambo and two others are facing corruption charges before the Lusaka's Magistrate Court. The former PS is jointly charged with former Principal Agriculture Economist Gre Mwale and former Principal Accountant Emmanuel Kawe. The trio are facing one count of making payment from the public revenue for goods not supplied in full. Monday, the first prosecution witness, Amon Madima, a head procurement and supplies unit at the Ministry of Agriculture, told Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Davis Chimbuli this morning that he was before court to tender in a contract as evidence for the supply and delivery of fertilizer. The contract in relation to the subject matter before court. Earlier, the accused took a fresh plea after the state substituted the old indictment. They have denied corruption charges. Allegations are that the trio, whose function concern administration of public revenue between January 1st, 2021 and the 31st of December 2021 in Lusaka. Allegations before court are that the trio, whose function concern administration of public revenue between January 1st, 2021 and December 31st, 2021 in Lusaka jointly and whereas acting together, did make payments to Nelia's Investment Limited from the public revenue for goods not supplied in full. In July 2022, the Anti-Corruption Commission recorded a warn and caution statement from the former Minister of Agriculture Permanent Secretary and Nelia Investment Limited directors on alleged corruption practices in a case of failure to supply fertilizer worth over $131 million United States dollars. According to a statement issued by SEC, the trio are alleged to have signed a letter of confirmation to Zanaco stating that Nelia Investment Limited had delivered 100% of D-compound fertilizer according to a requirement of a contract when it had not done so. The matter stands adjourned until March. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia Public Procurement Authority, ZPPA, has revealed that it has in the last quarter of 2022 reprimanded 3 councils, namely Kazungula, Mazabuka and Mofilira, for breaching the Procurement Act in the procurement of road construction equipment. Speaking at the 4th quarter media briefing in Lusaka Monday, ZPPA Director General Ida Chela says the Mazabuka Town Council was found wanting for awarding contracts to local bidders instead of citizen bidders as stipulated in the CDF Act. Mrs. Chela says the Mufulira Municipal Council and Kazungula councils were also found to have breached regulations when they failed to restrict the tenders to citizen bidders. She says ZPPA has since recommended that procurement officers for the Mazabuka Town Council undergo capacity building and that administrative sanctions be applied on them, while that of the Mufulira Municipal Council has been directed to re-evaluate the bids. Further, the Kazungula Town Council has been directed to terminate the procurement proceedings and retender to ensure fairness. Meanwhile, Mrs. Chela has disclosed that ZPPA has suspended Avery Hills Enterprises Limited from participating in public procurement for 1 year for non-performance of contractual obligations and failure to submit a performance security in the contract for supply and delivery of laptops and desktop computers to Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia. You're still watching the main news on Camnet TV. Just now, we'll take our last set of commercials. When we get back, we have the rest of the stories in international and sports news.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generation wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each. And ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours Monday to Friday at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Welcome back in our international news. The drought in the Horn of Africa is forcing many nomadic herders to seek a new life elsewhere. Increasing numbers are now leading a sedentary existence, relying on humanitarian aid in cities or camps for internal displaced people known as IDPs. The last 5 rainy seasons since the end of 2020 have failed, triggering the worst drought in 4 decades in Ethiopia, Somalia, and Kenya. Many are now considering a complete lifestyle change. This is in the case of Shepherd Bele Kabiner, and now according to the UN, drought has plunged 12 million people into acute food insecurity in Ethiopia alone, where a deadly conflict has also ravaged the north of the country. Here's a roundup of international news.
25 people are now known to have died and 21 others are still missing since a severe tropical storm made landfall last week and swirled for 10 days off Madagascar's island's western coast. Official records showed Sunday that Cyclone Cheneso smashed, bringing heavy winds and triggering downpours that have caused extensive flooding. We lost our groundnut, cassava, rice, all our crops. Now we can't do anything but start from the scratch and replant everything. All our crops are devastated. The rice we just planted, the cassava, the sweet potatoes, nothing is salvageable. We're suffering. Nearly 38,000 people have been displaced from their homes as a result of the flooding. Cheneso is the first tropical storm of the current cyclone season in southern Africa.
The drought in the Horn of Africa is forcing many nomadic herders to seek a new life elsewhere. Increasing numbers are now leading a sedentary existence, relying on humanitarian aid in cities or camps for internal displaced people, known as IDPs. In my life before, I was very happy. I had my children, animals that provided milk and meat. We moved freely from one place to another, and now all our wealth is gone. We are gathered here with my children. Now people's lives are in danger. The majority of people have left the village because of starvation, and those that remain here have nothing. The last 5 rainy seasons since the end of 2020 have failed, triggering the worst drought in 4 decades in Ethiopia, Somalia and Kenya. I have decided to move from a life of shepherd to a new way of life. I want to start a business, even if it is a small business, just to take care of my family. I don't know how to do anything other than being a nomadic shepherd. I'm not educated and I do not know how to farm. This is the only way I know to survive. According to the UN, drought has plunged 12 million people into acute food insecurity in Ethiopia alone. In a report published in January, the UN's humanitarian agency, OCHA, said that since 2021, more than 4.5 million livestock have died.
Morocco's foreign minister and his Iraqi counterpart signed Saturday a memorandum of understanding. Baghdad welcomed Morocco's move to reopen its embassy in Iraq, which closed after 2 Moroccan nationals were kidnapped 18 years ago.
The Kingdom of Morocco plays an important role in the political and economic fields, especially in the continent of Africa. And it is crucial for Iraq to build a relationship with the Kingdom of Morocco in order to start the building of futuristic, solid relationships with various African countries in which Morocco has already started to play an important role, whether it is in political or in the economic field. We denounce all provocative actions and assaults that touch the Jerusalem sanctuary. His Majesty the King, and through his chairmanship of the Al-Quds Committee, constantly asserts that calming is necessary if we want to keep what is left from the glimmer of hope in the peace process. And the current situation does not look good. The present state might undermine all chances for peace in the area.
Morocco's top diplomat referred to Israeli-Palestinian violence that sparked in recent days. Reuters' trip was the first visit to Baghdad by a Moroccan government official in 2 decades.
That's when our international headlines time now for sports. Everton have named Sean Dyche as their new manager on a 2.5-year contract until June 2025. The Toffees sacked Frank Lampard last week with the club 19th in the Premier League and 2 points from safety. Dyche, 51, had been out of work since he was dismissed by Burnley last April after almost 10 years at the Clarets. He is Everton majority owner Farhad Moshiri's 7th managerial appointment since buying into the club in February 2016. Dyche, whose first game in charge will be at home against league leaders Arsenal in the top flight on 4th February, said in a statement, "It was an honor to become Everton manager." Dyche will be supported at Goodson Park by former Nottingham Forest winger Ian Warne as his assistant manager and ex-England international Steve Stone as first-team coach. Chairman Bill Kenwright said Dyche quickly convinced the board he had exactly the right attributes to make himself a great Everton manager. Dyche guided Burnley to 2 promotions from the Championship and 2 top half Premier League finishes, including a first European qualification in 51 years after they finished 7th in 2017-2018. Everton have 18 games remaining, and after hosting Arsenal, their next game is away at Marseille side rivals Liverpool on 13th February. Former Leeds United manager Marcelo Bielsa was also a contender for the job and held talks with Everton's hierarchy. On that sporting item, we wrap up the main news. Let's look at the top stories that made the news. Floods continue to wreak havoc in several parts of Zambia. Patriotic Front inter-party wrangles emerge ahead of the elective Congress as MAUS gets suspended. President Hakainde Hichilema hails the role of the church in national development. In our international headline, tropical storm in Madagascar, at least 25 dead, roads flooded and crops destroyed. And finally, in sports, Everton named former Burnley boss Sean Dyche as new manager. We now look at the Camnet verse for today, coming from 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire production and news crew, my name is Louisia Nalupumbwe. It's bye for now. God bless, and continue watching all our programmings on Camnet TV. Good night.